So I'm telling you now some stuff in retrospect that I didn't understand at the time. For people who are not there physically to understand and see exactly what it is we're talking about. We are to be his hands, his feet. Almost immediately prayers were answered.
Just as scripture says.
And for you people who don't believe that there is a creator and that he doesn't answer prayers because you don't answer prayer. Made up story, it's an actual real thing that happened in our lives. Big T. Boom. Hey, what's up?
Sherry.
What up? What up? What up? Told y'all we had some testimony for you, so here's the beginning of.
Which one are you gonna get first?
First one's gonna be the Fire Peter. So we began this charity in 2010. Still Kicking is a charity that began around football gear, soccer shoes, socks, shorts, balls, you name it. Our intention is to be able to one day bring down some gold nets to Jamaica and build some parks, put some parks up, the kind of parks that your children playing with swings and slides and whatnot. We don't see very many of those in Jamaica, except in gated communities, and I believe that children that live outside of gated communities like parks as much as children that live inside of gated communities.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the dream anyhow, but for the meantime, we take anything you can give us, anything you can fit into a barrel, and hopefully a container very soon.
Yes. Clothes, books,
kitchen utensils, toys,
bedding,
bedding, school supplies, lady stuff, man, you name it, and we ship them down to Jamaica. Although we have given to the women's shelter, we've given to a few churches. Typically though, 90% of the goods we take down, straight from our hands into somebody else's hands. Better yet, straight from your hands to our hands into somebody else's hands. So no concern about that. The story though, while it begins in 2010, this testimony has to do with something we experienced and began experiencing in 2014. On one of our mission trips to Jamaica, we stopped at a place called Firewater, which was a planned stop. At some point during this trip, we had intended to go to Firewater. Runaway slaves used to bathe in the water, which is
sulfur bath.
Sulfur bath. Coming up out of the ground naturally, you can light a match on top of the water, and the gases coming up actually burn. Man, go look it up on YouTube. Why am I even telling y'all, B?
So we went there because I hurt my knee.
Because she was practicing some Taekwondo kicks.
Otis class. Big up Otis.
And I think she was practicing it so she could kick me, and that's why she hurt her knee. I ain't sure, but I'm just saying though, for real?
I ain't saying.
No?
I ain't saying.
Alright, anyhow. So we had to go to Firewater to go bathe in the water to try and get Sherry's knee healed up. As we were leaving Firewater though and heading out, there was a house in front of us, but most of you would look at it and refer to it as a shack. I could see through the board, you know what I'm saying? From front to back, and there was a lady sitting out front with a very small pot over a single open fire. I don't know what she was cooking, but I felt something. I was moved, and the spirit said to me, and I wouldn't normally say the spirit because it sounds kind of freaky to people who don't know, but I gotta say, because I know it is the Ruha HaKadosh. What you would refer to, most Christians would refer to as the spirit of God, the Ruha HaKadosh of Yahuwah. That force that moves and does its work, right? Next year when you come back to Jamaica, I want you to come to Firewater and bring some football gear. And that's kind of how the charity started, with football gear. And so I answered yes, not knowing where the football gear was coming from because we don't have football gear. This was in December by the way. So we come back home, and that whole year, we're trying to procure football gear. We're sending out letters, we're asking clubs, we're asking people we know for football gear.
We did collect some.
We did collect some, but like, man, I really couldn't go back to Firewater with the stuff we've collected. We would need more football gear. That summer, we met 3 coaches named Paul.
That's significant.
That's significant. Numbers are always significant. One of the coaches named Paul was a coach at Brams United Girls Soccer Club. And that coach Paul says to us, you know what? I'm going to take your name to Brams United and see if they'll donate to you some of their excess uniforms. And we said, sure, Coach Paul, man, give it a shot. Let's see what happens, you know what I mean? And he does. And we met these thank you, Brams United Girls Soccer Club, because you blew this thing up for us, man. You allowed us to have some really beautiful times. And a lot of folks in Jamaica right now playing and wearing Brams United Girls Soccer Club football gear, and I'm talking about adult people as well.
The taxi driver.
Very thankful for y'all, Brams United. Thank you very much for your donation. 2 small mini SUVs full of equipment, mostly brand new.
Yeah.
Mostly
Balls,
brand new. Balls, socks, shorts, the tops. I mean, everything, you name it. We even got nets, we got pumps, we got whistles. We got 4 nets at home right now trying to get down there, man. We get down to Jamaica and the barrels are taking forever to get there. They get there on the Thursday of this week. We're leaving like the middle of next week, so we have to get the stuff out. It was at the end of next week. But we had a week, I think it was. We're staying in Runaway Bay in Bel Air on the hillside.
Big up to the Nivens.
Big up to the Nivens. Christine and Oliver Nivens, thank you very much for your beautiful place.
A blessing.
Yeah, lovely view by the way. And folks, I wish y'all could have enjoyed it with us. But anyhow, so we picked the stuff up on the Thursday. We begin to unpack and repack the barrels on the Friday night, and we're heading out Saturday morning. We head out first to Fisherman's Wharf, Runaway Bay, St. Anne's, Jamaica, because if I don't get it all right, somebody don't ask me where. So anyhow, we pack the stuff up, we head down to Fisherman's Wharf, and we hand the stuff out, and we have a beautiful time down there with the folks. Big up to the people in Fisherman's Wharf. Miss y'all. Can't wait to see y'all again sometime soon, hopefully. Juanita, Wagwan. Big up yourself. Fatty. Nothing but love. Sin? Yeah, man. So we then left Fisherman's Wharf, went back to the house, and we're leaving, heading out to Firewater. Before I put the cover onto the barrel, though, I look in, and there's about maybe 8 to 10 inches of space left of the barrel. And once again, that same voice that in 2014 told me in Firewater to bring some football gear back said to me again, hey, it's these people I told you to bring the football gear for, so make sure you put some football gear in the barrel. And when I say voice, I don't mean a voice like the one you're hearing from me now. It's a voice you learn to recognize, although it's inaudible. It's not something that I have ever heard. I've never felt my creator. I have never seen my creator, but I know he's there. And how I do it, I cannot quite explain to you, except through testimonies like this. But now you know what I mean, my voice. So here I go again, all right?
This time people are still in the car.
Waiting for me, thinking I'm late. Just being Jamaican. But I'm not, B. I'm actually loading up some football gear in the barrel, being obedient, being Jamaican. I'm spending time here because it really makes a difference in the end of the story. Load it in the car, drive down to Firewater. So we're at Firewater now. Second stop for the day, Saturday. As you go down into the yard, the first thing you bump into is there's an actual wall broken down. There was a building there, but all that's left is a wall. There's a doorway in the wall with no door. There's a window, and the wall's broken down, dilapidated, totally gone. You couldn't even tell there's a building there if you didn't see the wall. That's what I noticed anyhow. Beyond that, there was a table, nice big table. Rectangle table, sturdy table. Behind the table was a bit of space, and then there was another smaller table. At that smaller table, there was a dark gentleman sitting in the back and a brown skin tattooed gentleman sitting on the front of the table. Well tattooed. Dude, I hope you're still around, man. Bless. Thank you very much for blessing us with this testimony, with this great memory. Thank you for doing what you did without knowing, bro. Thank you for your obedience. Sure, bro, you got anything to add before I forget?
No, that's it.
So here I go. These two gentlemen are sitting at the table, so I walk up now with Sherry and the driver from the taxi. And the dude named Donman, I think, was there, yeah?
Donman.
All right, Donman, you did it. Bless up. So we first approached Suki, who we thought was the guy that ran the area. Suki was the guy we met in 2014 who was running the bath.
Big up Suki and big up Firewater.
So my wife, dainty as she is.
Not dainty.
She is, you know she is. Tries to say she's a tomboy, but you know she ain't, folks. Thought she ran track, nuh-uh. So she asked the brown skin brother if she could sit down beside him, and it's 2019, August 24th. This dude still hasn't answered. That's how hard this brother was. My wife went and sat down anyhow. Because that's how my wife moves. We're accustomed to it, you know what I mean? It takes some breaking in. I go down and I ask Suki if he minds if I bring some things down in a barrel. And he says, no, you can put the stuff there on the table. So the driver and I head back to the car to get the barrel. And as we are approaching the table with the barrel, and here's why it was important that the football gear be on top. Otherwise, this moment wouldn't have been possible. As I begin to empty the football gear, the brown-skinned, well-tattooed guy that was too hard to talk to my wife and I know she could turn on the table says to his friend, Fire Peter, who's 20 yards away in the yard cleaning up, because it was Emancipation Day that weekend. And they were having a big sound clash in the yard that night.
And they were having a fun day Wednesday.
They were having a fun day that Wednesday too. Very important story as we go forward, right? We didn't know the fun day coming up. We didn't know any of this. Although we're Jamaican, B, we didn't know Emancipation Day weekend was that. Like, everything was kind of coincidental. He realizes his friend can't hear him. So he turns to Sherry, who he's not talking to, and says to Sherry, you know it was just this morning, man, this guy standing at the doorway. I pray about some football gear for you, them in the area.
Translation.
You know it was just this morning we were standing up in this doorway here, in that broken down wall with the window. Didn't say all that, just the doorway. Praying about some football gear for the children in the area.
And I said,
nothing, B. You know how you black women can be sometimes, bro. It was funny though. And so the brown skin guy just sat down and kept quiet, as much as he couldn't help himself. So over walks Fire Peter. Now I decided to put the stuff back inside the barrel. And I'm gonna tell you folks, like I try to tell everybody, at the time I put the stuff back in the barrel, I had no clue why I had the inclination to put the stuff back in the barrel. But thankfully I put the stuff back in the barrel. I went back to that table that Sherry was sitting on with the brown skin guy, and I picked up a two-legged stool. Rested it with a chair, but it had two legs. So I rested one corner against the table and sat there, kind of, you know, just a catch. He comes over, he opens the barrel, and this is the gentleman that's in charge of the yard, that runs the yard, and he's not a simple guy, he's not an easy guy, he's not a pushover, but he's not a big guy. He's just one of those small axes that'll drop a big tree. Yes. Feel it, brother? Yes. So just a beautiful dude anyhow, right? And no smile, doesn't even really say any big good morning salutation, serious dude, you know what I mean? Comes over and says hi, yeah, and gets to the barrel and takes the lid off. When he takes the lid off,
his mouth drops.
I wish I could be a cartoon right now and show you how his tongue drops out of his mouth. And he does. And he turns to his friend and he says to his friend, the brown tattooed man, Jah move mystic, do I? Translation?
Translation.
God moves quite mystical, doesn't he? Yeah. And then he turns to me and Sharon and he says, you know, it was just this morning that me and this guy were sitting down in this doorway, but not to confirm to his friend, to confirm to us that these gentlemen really had this conversation this morning. More than just a casual conversation, but mentioned to the Most High in prayer, you know what? We'd like some goods, some football gear specifically for these children in this neighborhood so that they could play some football and start a corner league. Wow. These people, I'm telling you, are dirt poor.
Wow.
There really is no neighborhood to speak of, not the way we think of it in Canada. And to think that rather than praying for food or clothing or school fees or a home to live in, these two gentlemen were just praying for some football gear to be a blessing to the children in the area. And a few hours later, two strangers who Fire Peter had never met, nor the dark dude, nor the tattooed dude who doesn't talk or wasn't talking, talks now though, had any idea. So yeah, imagine, these folks in this area had no idea that we had a charity that did anything in Jamaica. They didn't even know we existed. Our encounter the year before in 2014 was brief, maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes. Yeah. We had only seen Suki and a couple other gentlemen in the place. Like I said, the experience was not memorable, except for our leaving and the message we got upon leaving to bring football gear back. Do I think it's a coincidence? Never. I don't believe in coincidences. And we became direct answer to a prayer prayed mere hours before we showed up.
And the prayer was for soccer gear.
And the prayer was for soccer gear, but like Isaiah says, when the Most High blesses his people, even the dragons in the wilderness are thankful for their blessings because they have springs of waters from which springs fruits and vegetables and life, and they can eat and they can drink, and it's not just his children that are blessed, but everybody within range, everybody around. Man, I mean, way more than they prayed for. And those things came from y'all. Because we weren't afraid to believe and ask, and because you folks weren't afraid to trust somebody and give them some used goods and some new goods and some cash, their prayer was directly answered by the Most High. Yeah, it worked out beautifully. That weekend was Emancipation Day. Fun Day was coming up on Wednesday, and the prayer for some football gear on Saturday morning turned out to be a blessing to not just Firewater, but the neighborhood.
Just what scripture says, to feed the poor,
to clothe the naked. What else is there in there? To set the oppressed free.
The blessing from his prayers extended even more, because those books that we did bring down, kids are continuing to read them. They're going on to the next child to read. So the blessing has continued.
As a matter of fact, those clothes being hand-me-down to somebody else may be a prayer to that somebody else. I mean, we don't know how deep the depth of these answered prayers go, because our prayer from here in Toronto, Brampton, Ontario, was to be able to answer prayers down there.
Yep.
So we were an answer to a prayer. He was an answer to our prayer. How many prayers are being answered because of the kindness of folks like you donating to a charity like Still Kicking? Very grassroots, straight from your hands to our hands to the people who need it most. The gentleman, Fire Peter, passed away 3 months after this incident. Yeah, so 3 months after and 3 Pauls, numbers are always important. And I can't help but think that while he was passing, it must have dawned on him that he's all right with the Most High, because the Most High answers the prayers of his people and those who are considered righteous. And his prayer was more than answered, and abundantly answered. And I'm sure that the wife and I will see him again at some point in the future. He will rest in hope, blood. Thank you very much for adding to our testimony, for adding to our faith, adding to our walk. Your blessing is not just one time. Your gift is not just one time. Your gift lasts for as long as people last, because these stories, these testimonies will last for as long as people last. Without your donations and without your support, not just would we not have this testimony, but those people whose prayers were answered wouldn't have the testimony. The people whose prayers were answered beyond Fire Peter and beyond who we know and who we saw would not now have a greater faith and a testimony stating that the Most High is who he says he is. He does answer prayers.
He answers prayers.
But he always does it through his people.
And thank you.
Thank you for your time. We know it's a bit long, but 2 more to go. And the two that are remaining are even more pointed. A little shorter, but just nice. Stay tuned, man. All right, bless up, big up, one heap of love. Keep donating, love y'all. Still kicking, always by his grace and mercy, for his glory and honor.
Ready.
Brahms United Girls Soccer Club. Thank you very much for the gears, and please send more. We're loving it.
Thank you, Brahms United Girls Soccer Club.
Thank you, Brahms United Girls Soccer Club.
Thank you, Brahms United Girls Soccer Club. Thank you, Brahms United Girls Soccer Club.
Thank you, Girls Soccer Club, for the gears. Want to say thank you. Thank you, Brahms United Girls Soccer Club, for all your gears.
Thank you, Brahms United Girls Soccer Club, for all the gears.
Thank you, Brahms United Girls Soccer Club, for the gears.
Just wanna say thank you, Brahms United Soccer Club.
Thank you, Brahms United Girls Soccer Club, for your donation.
Thank you, Brahms Girls Soccer Club, for everything.
Thank you, Brahms United Girls Soccer Club.
Hi, I'm Kenisha from Jamaica, and we appreciate you guys so much for sending all your jerseys and shoes, and we're requesting more shoes and jerseys and shin pads, and we love you guys so much. Thank you guys. Woo!
Thank you, Brahms United. Thanks a lot.
behind the shop.
Yeah, practice up this year for you now.